Get 105 readings in Philippine history. Historical landmarks. Historical sites. Provincial capital. Bridges, battlefields. Pres. Ramon Magsaysay. Historical landmarks.
President Ramon Magsaysay Historical Landmark, located at Castillejo, Zambales, is the ancestral house of the 7th Philippine President Ramon Magsaysay. It is open for public viewing. These structure houses have some of the personal belongings of the late president, from his furniture, appliances, clothing, medallions, and books, to his 1945 Cadillac limousine and a Willys Jeep said to be in good running condition. Gallery 1, or the ground floor of the house, can be seen the story of the life of the former president, which stated his birth, parents, youth, and his job before he became the president, which the people can read and see on a panel board. It can also see here the artifacts, collections, campaign materials, and Barong Tagalog that the late president used. The second floor, or Gallery 2, is about his life after marriage. The statue and other paintings of her family are shown here.
Old Casa Real and Provincial capital.
Good day, I'm Alona Gentisigan and I'm going to tackle the historical landmark of Old Casa Real and Provincial capital. In this picture, in my back, it is a collection of Arabella Arcinu that shows the historical landmark in its earlier years in the capital town of Lingayen. It was built during the 1840s and served different purposes as provincial capital, school building, courthouse, and headquarters of the Japanese during World War II. And in 2007, the importance of Enriquez as a historical landmark in the town came to the fore when local historian Arabella Arcinu, the president of Pangasinan Heritage Society, Incorporated Philippine, or the PHSI, saw a pot of Casa Real in the Philippines picture postcards as a collection of 1920 postcard by Jonathan Bess.
P. Burgos Elementary School. Historical landmark.
P. Burgos Elementary School. Pasay Central School was renamed Epifanio de los Santos Elementary School and later given the name Padre Burgos Elementary School, which was retained up to the present. In 1958, the structure was condemned due to the deterioration of the historic building in spite of repairs. The Gabaldon Building, recognized by the Historical Institute of the Philippines as one of the historical landmarks to be proud of, within the vicinity of Padre Burgos Elementary School, which progressed through the years, maintaining quality performance of basic education. Today, Padre Burgos Elementary School continues to respond by developing and molding its youth, who will undeniably serve as pillars of community development and of nation building.
Pamitinan Cave Historic Site.
Pamitinan Cave Historic Site. Pamitinan Cave is a limestone cave in the foothills of the Sierra Madre mountain range, near Wawa Dam in Rizal, the Philippines. It is located in the Pamitinan Protected Landscape in the barangay of San Rafael, Municipality of Rodriguez. The cave was formerly known as the Cave of Bernardo Carpio. Pamitinan Cave is famous in folkloric circles for being the prison of Bernardo Carpio, a mythological figure who is said to cause earthquakes whenever he shrugged his shoulder. During World War II, Japanese soldiers also supposedly made use of the cave as their base. On April 12, 1895, Andres Bonifacio, along with 8 other Katipuneros, declared the Philippine independence from the Spanish Empire inside of this cave. The wall still bears inscription of Viva la Independencia in the Filipina from the time of the Philippine Revolution. On June 21, 1996, Tinan Cave was declared a historic site by the National Historical Commission of the Philippines.
Pila Historical Landmark.
Pila National Landmark. It is declared as a National Historical Landmark on May 17, 2000. In Pila Historical Landmark, we can found the Pila Church or the San Antonio de Padua de Pila Parish Church. Pila Church is among the oldest churches in Laguna. This is evident in its strong stone structure. Its red bell tower is one of its distinguishable features. Pila also have museum. It is one of the municipal museums in Laguna, and the museum is under the direct jurisdiction of the Office of the Mayor of Pila. It was built through the efforts of the Pila Historical Society Foundation, a group of concerned citizens that seek to preserve the cultural heritage of Pila. The museum was built on November 10, 1993 from funds raised by the foundation. Another one was old ancestral houses. These houses were built during the early American period. A number of them are still in pristine condition, preserved by the descendants of the original owners of the house, while some are converted into shops and cafes. A majority of the houses within the site are derelict, but the town officials are taking action to restore these architectural treasures. And the last one is the Pila Municipal Hall. It is a small and quaint structure right in front of the Pila Church. It is distinguishable by its white paint scheme with red tiled roof and brown pillars. Outside is a statue of Rizal standing guard in memoriam to the national hero. The hall has been situated there since 1931 and has been renovated.
Portion of the Iloilo City Central Business District.
The Central Business District of Iloilo City is composed of old commercial areas in the city proper. Before the coming of malls, the streets of Iloilo CBD were lined with traces of bustling trade and commerce. Groups of people would come to shop and transact businesses in the all sorts of shops. Today, new air-conditioned malls have taken the limelight and attract considerable portions of market share. Though the old CBD remains an important shopping destination because of its low-cost buys. Calle Real, composed of J.M. Basa and Isnar Street, is the main artery of the activity in CBD. It is also known for its heritage building dating back to the Spanish and American colonial periods. The ranging architectural styles of this building serve as an indicator of Iloilo Pass as a major trading post and a reminder of events that shaped Iloilo City over the decades. The plans for revitalizing Iloilo CBD started with the initiatives of the city government to promote tourism in Iloilo City by developing it as a heritage destination, which later paved way for METRO-ILOILO GUIMARASECONOMIC Development Council to develop a concept plan for revitalizations of Iloilo City Central Business District.
Negros Occidental Provincial Capital.
Negros Occidental Provincial Capital. The Negros Occidental Provincial Capital is the seat of the provincial government of Negros Occidental, located at Gatulaw Street, Bacolod, Philippines. Within its complex in the Capital Park and Lagoon. Due for its present location, the provincial government of Negros Occidental was in the house donated by Jose Ruiz de Lizuriaga, who was part of the Philippine Commission established by the Americans in 1901, which was composed of 3 members. The site that was identified to be the best location for the capital was owned by the Gonzaga family. Part of the area was a swamp and The grass was used to feed the horses pulling the calesas, which was the main mode of transportation in the town and cities in the province.
Rizal Memorial Sports Complex declared a National Historical Landmark.
Rizal Memorial Sports Complex. The Rizal Memorial Sports Complex, or formerly known as Rizal Memorial Field, is a national sports complex of the Philippines. It is located on Pablo Ocampo Street, or formerly known as the Vito Cruz Street, Malate, Manila. It is named in honor of the country's national hero, Dr. Jose Rizal. The complex is currently managed by the Philippine Sports Commission, while the property is owned by the Manila City Government. The complex also houses the Administrative Office of the Philippine Sports Commission and quarters for the Philippine national athletes. In August 2021, the Philippine Sports Commission renamed facilities within the Rizal Memorial Sports Complex after reputed Filipino athletes.
Rosendo Mexica Historical Landmark.
The Rosendo Mexica Museum opened in 1998. The 19th century wooden residence also houses an early 20th century printing machinery. The fact is, these equipment are part of the oldest printing press in Iloilo, the Makina Galingon Press. It started in May 1, 1913 by Rosendo Mexica, who was born in 1873 and died in 1956. Original printing machines such as the Minerva, Letterpress, Proofpress, edger, and cutter are evidently still functional in this 21st century. These machines were built to the last. The Hiligaynon News kidnapping Sang Banwa was thought to have been printed right at the Makina Galingon.
Heritage House Ancestral House Resting Place or Lighthouse. Mount Samet National Shrine.
Mount Samat National Shrine is a historical shrine located near the summit of Mount Samat in the town of Pilar, province of Bataan. The memorial shrine complex was built to honor and remember the gallantry of Filipino and American soldiers who fought and lost their lives against the Imperial Japanese Army during World War II. The Mount Samat Shrine or Dambana ng Kagitingan was completed and inaugurated in 1970. The shrine is approximately 72 hectares from the foot up to the cross. The shrine consists of the colonnade and the huge memorial cross. The memorial cross is towering 555-meter structure above the sea level. It is made up of steel and reinforced concrete and has an elevator and viewing gallery. The annual celebration of the Araw ng Kagitingan at Mount Samat is the most significant event in Bataan.
Nagcarlan Underground Cemetery Historical Landmark.
Next is the Heritage House or the Ancestral House of Nagcarlan Underground Cemetery Historical Landmark. The Nagcarlan Underground Cemetery in Laguna was built in 1845 under the auspices of Franciscan Father Vicente Bello. The town's elite enjoyed the privilege of burial space in this distinctive cemetery. During the revolution against Spain and the war against the United States, the underground cemetery was used as a rendezvous of Filipino revolutionaries. Similarly, the cemetery served as an hideout of guerrillas resisting the Japanese occupation in World War II. It is located underneath the structure is the crypt, its entrance standing at the right side of the chapel's main door.
Natalio Enriquez House.
Natalio Enriquez House. Similar to the Mestizo district in Vigan, Sariaya in Quezon Province, Northern Luzon, Philippines, is synonymous with the beautiful ancestral houses that define the elite and affluent century of the town in the pre-war years. But unlike in Vigan, where older Spanish colonial houses were preserved, Sariaya's architectural gems are from the Art Deco period in early 1900s. A later period where few building examples exist due to the devastation during World War II. An example from Sariaya's Art Deco ancestral houses is the eye-catching and brick-roofed Sariaya landmark near the church known as the Governor Natalio Enriquez Ancestral House, designed by European-schooled architect Andres Luna de San Pedro, the son of the artist Juan Luna. It was built in 1931 for the Tayabas Provincial Governor Natalio Enriquez in 1941 to 1945 and his wife Susana Gala. The house was a venue for fabulous high society gatherings in pre-war Sariaya and was listed by the National Historical Institute as the Heritage Houses on May 2008. Sariaya's fabulous ancestral houses define an era of affluence in the Philippines in early 1900s, when the characteristic old Filipino-Spanish architecture was renovated by rich owners and transformed with foreigner influences like the Art Deco style. Other houses of note in Sariaya are the ancestral houses of Doña Carmen Rodriguez Argiles, Enriquez Gala, Don Catalino Rodriguez, Juanito Rodriguez, and Francisco Rodriguez.
Opus Ancestral House, or Southern Late Provincial Library.
Opus Ancestral House or Southern Leyte Provincial Library. The Hopileño Ancestral Home is mostly made from the sturdiest wood in the country, Nara and ironwood or balayong. The grand staircase and walls are made of balayong, a wood so tough it is considered impermeable by nails and termites. It is home to an electric collection which includes some of the world's first pocketbooks and what is claimed to be the world's smallest pair of dolls, which are a little smaller than a rice grain. The family also collects tektites, dark, occasionally lustrous molten meteorite debris. Mr. Hopileño's eyes glisten with enthusiasm as they tell stories about his collections, like a proud father about his children.
President Carlos P. Garcia House.
President Carlos P. Garcia House. The President Carlos P. Garcia Heritage House is the residence of former President Carlos P. Garcia in Tagbiliran City, Bohol. Local refers to it as the White House largely because of the dominant color of the house paint. It has no resemblance whatsoever to the White House of Washington. It was declared as a heritage house by the National Historical Commission of the Philippines in 2009. The house was built during the years 1953 to 1954 on the former residence of the Horolan family. Carlos P. Garcia did not own a house in the city as was a native of Talibon town on the other side of the island province of Bohol. His family rented a house in the city while he was serving in Constituent. After World War II, the Garcia family finally had the means to buy a parcel of land and build a house. Hence, the house became his official provincial residence. Years after his death, the Garcia house was rented to the provincial government of Bohol for use as a provincial museum. The collection consists of preserved local flora and fauna, small replicas of the century-old churches, as well as artifacts sourced from different parts of the province. A memorandum of agreement transferring the management of the museum from President Carlos P. Garcia Foundation, Incorporation, to the Bohol Provincial Government was signed last November 25, 2011 by Gobernador Edgar Chato and Fernando Campos, son-in-law of President Garcia and then Secretary General of the Foundation.
Punta de Malabrigo Lighthouse.
Punta de Malabrigo Lighthouse, or also known as the Faro de Punta Malabrigo, or in Filipino, it is Parola ng Punta Malabrigo. It is a historic lighthouse located in Barangay Malabrigo, Lobo, Batangas, Philippines. Punta de Malabrigo Lighthouse is one of the oldest working lighthouses in the Philippines, as well as the best preserved lighthouse in the country. It serves as a guide for ships passing through the Verde Island Passage going to either Batangas Bay or Sibuyan Sea.
Resting place of the remains of Melchor Tandang Soro Aquino.
Heritage House, resting place of the remains of Melchora Tandang Sara Aquino. Location, Banlat Road, Quezon City, Metro Manila, Philippines. The Tandang Sara National Shrine, in Filipino, Dambana ni Melchora Tandang Sara Aquino, is a national monument and memorial park in Quezon City, Metro Manila, Philippines. It is dedicated to Filipino revolutionary and centenarian Melchor Aquino, who is also known as Tandang Sara. Background: Melchor Aquino, popularly known as Tandang Sara, is a key figure in the Philippine Revolution who offered shelter and medical aid to Katipunan revolutionaries despite her old age. She was known by the titles of Mother of the Katipunan and the Grand Woman of the Revolution for her role in the revolution. The place where the memorial is situated along in present-day Banlat Road in a barangay in Quezon City named in honor of her is her birthplace. After her death, her remains were initially buried at the Mausoleum of the Veterans of the Revolution at the Manila North Cemetery before being transferred to the Himlayang Filipino. In 2012, her remains were transferred to the Tandang Sara Shrine. The shrine is situated along Banlat Road in Barangay Tandang Sara, Quezon City. It covers an area of 1,000 square meter and features a 10.67 meter bronze sculpture. The remains of Melchor Aquino, which consists of 3 small bones and ash at the time of her reinterment in the shrine, is housed inside a small wooden casket, which in return is placed inside the square space at the foot of the bronze sculpture, designed by Tom Imau. An art gallery is also hosted within the shrine grounds, which features paintings and other sculptures dedicated to Tandang Sara made by local artists from Quezon City. It also has a pavilion and stage for events and a mini museum dedicated to Melchor Aquino.
Rizal Shrine.
The Rizal Shrine in Calamba is a reproduction of original two-story Spanish colonial-style house in Calamba, Laguna, where Jose Rizal was born on June 19, 1861. Rizal is regarded as one of the greatest national heroes of the Philippines. The house is designated as a national shrine by the National Historical Commissions of the Philippines. It is located along Mercado Street and Rizal Street in Calamba, Poblacion 5. Rizal father Francisco Rizal Mercado took 2 years to build the original ancestral house. It was subsequently sold, destroyed in World War II, and eventually demolished. The government bought what remained of Rizal House for 24,000 pesos. In 1949, President Elpidio Quirino passed Executive Order No. 145 facilitating reconstructions of the house. Filipino school children provided most of the funding for the project, while Juan F. Napkil served as the supervising architect. Staying true to the original home, and the reconstructed house occupies the same site, and it's built from the materials during the time of the house was built. On June 19, 1950, the newly built house was inaugurated and now serves as a repository of Rizal memorabilia. During the centenary of the Philippine independence in 1998, the National Commission for Culture and Arts, in cooperation with the National Centennial Commission, decided that Rizal Shrine should be focused specifically on his childhood. The house is intended to provide an accurate representation of the home Rizal grew up in until his formal schooling in Binyan. The Rizal Shrine is typically a rectangular bahay na bato, reminiscent of upper-class Filipino homes built during the Spanish colonial era. The lower portion is made of adobe stone and brick, while the upper portion consists of hardwood. The original interior flooring of the house was discovered during the reconstruction and utilized. The ground floor of the house historically served as a stable for horses and carriage. It contains several exhibits on Rizal childhood, including exact copy of Rizal writing, drawings, and original baptismal certificate. The upper floor served as the family living quarters and consisted of the living room, dining area, bathroom, and library, containing more than 1,000 books, adjacent to the library in the family formal dining room, where Rizal parent hosted guests and other prominent members of the society.
Roca Encantada Heritage House.
Roca Encantada Heritage House. One of the Guimaras' famous landmarks is the summer house of the Lopez clan, built on a top of a hill, or also known as Roca Encantada or Enchanted Rock. The house was built in 1910 in honor of Doña Presentacion Opheliana Lopez. Surprisingly, despite the modern exterior, the idyllic mansion is a heritage house as declared by the National Heritage Institute. Roca Encantada is the kind of rest house by the sea that many of us are dreaming to have. The idea that it's a third-floor house that is standing on a large rock at the corner of the beach would mean a lot of wonderful things. This rest house is located in Navalas, Buenavista, Guimaras, where the Spanish-era Navalas Church can also be found.
Rodriguez House.
Rodriguez House. Don Catalino Rodriguez Ancestral House, or also known as Villa Sariaya, is one of the 3 houses declared by the National Historical Institute of the Philippines as a heritage house in Sariaya, Quezon. It was owned by Don Catalino Rodriguez, Sariaya's town president from 1908 to 1909. The house occupies an entire block near the church park, its main entrance facing south along Calle Dalis and is bounded by Calle Rizal on the west and Quezon Avenue, or formerly known as the Calle Talavera on the east. This house has already been transformed into a museum, and visitors can choose to wear period costumes for reasonable fees and pose for souvenir photos. This house is listed as one of the ancestral house in the Philippines under Region 4A.
Sa Dakong Balay Don Florencio House.
Sa Dakong Balay, Don Florencio Noel House. The Mercado Mansion is a heritage house located in Carcar, Cebu, Philippines. It is a 2-story bahay na bato painted Mediterranean blue owned by the Mercado clan along Cebu South Road. It was declared the heritage house by the National Historical Commission of the Philippines in 2009. History. The house is owned by the Mercado clan, an old political family in Carcar. Don Mariano Mercado, American era mayor of Carcar, inherited the house. He is originally from Parian in Cebu City. The first level of the house may have been originally built in the 1880s. The second level of the house was added using the hardwood in 1906 based on the design and renovation plan of Don Mariano. Some of the known visitors of the Mercado Mansion are American Senator K. Pittman, who visited the house in the 1931. During the visit of Senator Pittman, then Senate Foreign Relations Chair, Mayor Mercado personally requested him to iterate the talks for Philippine independence from the United States. President Ferdinand Marcos, who took siesta in the master bedroom of the second floor during a campaign sortie in the 1960s. In 2009, the National Historical Institute, now National Historical Commission of the Philippines, declared the Mercado Mansion as Heritage House pursuant the Resolution Number 10 Series of 2009. The unveiling of the market happened on 29 May 2010 alongside other declared heritage houses in Carcar, namely Silva House, Ang Dakong Balay, also Don Florencio Noel Ancestral House, and Balay Natisa.
Historical Shrine Monument Libraries Museums. Old Town of Dapitan.
The Old Town of Dapitan Heritage Zone includes the established Heritage Dapitan District, the Rizal Shrine in Talisay, and the buffer strip of creek along northern and eastern Heritage Dapitan. It is where historic sites and structure such as Rizal National Shrine, Rizal's Disembarkation Site, Dapitan Plaza, Rizal Monument, Rizal's Relief Map of Mindanao, Town Hall Building, Old Rizal Memorial District, Hospital, Ilihan Hill, Parochial School, Casa Real, Gabaldon Building, St. James Church, the Santa Cruz Market, Gabaldon School Building, and Old Ancestral House are located.
Paciano Rizal Shrine.
And now let's proceed in historical shrines or monument of Paciano Rizal Shrine. We know a lot about Jose Rizal, the national hero of the Philippines, but little is known about Jose's older brother, which is Paciano. Paciano Rizal was very much involved during the Spanish era as well as during the Philippine-American War. At this shrine, you can see the monument in the honor of Paciano Rizal as well as recognition by the National Historical Institute recognizing Paciano's contribution to the Philippines' freedom. Old antique furnishings, some of the writings of Rizal, and old photographs can also found inside the shrine. Paciano is said to be the one who seek funds for the continuous circulation of propaganda movements paper or Diaryong Tagalog. The contribution of General Paciano Rizal has surely paved the way to the propaganda movement's causes which is eventually led to the Filipino nationhood.
Quezon Memorial Shrine.
The Quezon Memorial Shrine o Pambansang Pang-alang-alang Dambana ni Quezon is a monument and national shrine dedicated to former Philippine President Manuel L. Quezon, located within the grounds of Quezon Memorial Circle in Quezon City, Metro Manila. It was established by the virtue of Executive Order No. 79, signed by then President Sergio Osmeña on December 17, 1945. The monument was placed under the jurisdictions of National Historical Institute through Presidential Decree No. 1 issued by then President Ferdinand Marcos on September 24, 1972. On January 14, 1974, the monument was formally designated as a national shrine and was inaugurated on August 19, 1978. The remains of former President Manuel L. Quezon was transferred to Quezon Memorial Shrine from Manila North Cemetery on August 1, 1979. The remains of his wife Aurora Aragon Quezon were likewise transferred to the shrine on April 28, 2005. The Quezon Memorial Shrine was designed by Federico Ilustre. The 66-meter or 215-feet monument is composed of 3 connected pylons and located at the center of Quezon Memorial Circle, a major park in Quezon City. The columns are adorned with 3 giving bows eagles holding sampaguita wreaths, with each of them representing the 3 major islands of the Philippines, namely Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao.
Rizal Park Bagumbayan Historical Site.
Rizal Park or Bagong Bayan Historical Site. Luneta has been the site of the most significant moments in the Philippine history. The execution of pacifist Dr. Jose Rizal on December 30, 1896 sparked the fire of the Philippine Revolution against the Spanish colonizers, thus making him a hero of the Philippine Revolution and the national hero of the country. Rizal Park is one of the major tourist attractions in Manila. The park has been a favorite spot for unwinding, socializing, relaxing, jogging, strolling, and bonding among families and friends. And on, different groups gather here to practice martial arts. There are also some photographers around the park, so if you want to have some photos beside the monument, they are always prepared to take pictures. The park has an open-air auditorium where long-running concerts take place. The Rizal Park is a big part of our history. That's why we must remember all the things that happened, is happening, and will happen here.
Sheikh Karimal Makdum Shrine.
Sheikh Karemol Macdom Shrine. The Sheikh Karemol Macdom Mosque is located in Barangay Tubig, Indangan, Simonol, Tawi-Tawi, the Philippines. It is the oldest mosque in the Philippines and in Southeast Asia. According to local folklore, it was built by an Arab trader named Sheikh Makdum Karim in 1380. It was first thought that the pillars of the old mosque found within the current mosque are the pillars of the originally allegedly built in 1380. However, studies from the National Museum of the Philippines have confirmed that the pillars found within the present mosque dates back to the 70th century. The four pillars are regarded as sacred and have high status in the Philippine culture, as they are at least 400 years old and are the oldest known Islamic artifacts in the entire Philippines. The mosque has been declared as the National Historical Landmark by the National Historical Commission and a National Cultural Treasure by the National Museum.
Tirade Pass National Shrine.
Tirad Pass National Shrine. Tirad Pass was the last stand of the Filipino Revolutionary Forces under the command of General Emilio Aguinaldo. It is located in the municipality of Gregorio del Pilar. The Battle of Tirad Pass was led by the youngest Filipino general, which is Gregorio del Pilar.
Old Legislative Building, now National Museum.
Historical shrines. Old Legislative Building, National Museum, Architectural Style, Neoclassical Architecture, Address, Padre Burgos Avenue, Rizal Park. Construction started on 1918. The National Museum of Fine Arts, in Filipino, Pambansang Museo ng Sining, formerly known as the National Art Gallery, is an art museum in Manila, Philippines. It is located on Padre Burgos Avenue across from the National Museum of Anthropology in the eastern side of Rizal Park. The museum, owned and operated by the National Museum of the Philippines, was founded in 1998 and houses a collection of paintings and sculptures by classical Filipino artists such as Juan Luna, Felix Resurrection Hidalgo, and Guillermo Tolentino. The neoclassical building was built in 1921 and originally served to house the various legislative bodies of the Philippine government. Known as the Old Legislative Building, also the Old Congress Building, it was the home of the Bicameral Congress from 1926 to 1972 and the Philippine Senate from 1987 to 1997. History. The building became known as the Congress Building and continuously served as home of the Congress of the Philippines until 1972 with the declaration of martial law. The Congress was effectively dissolved and the building was padlocked. For a short time, the building became home of the offices of the Prime Minister of the Philippines, a position established under 1973 Constitution of the Philippines. On the fourth floor, the Ombudsman on the third floor, the National Museum on the second floor, and the Sandigan Bayat on the ground floor. The building was called the Executive House for the duration of that time. The Congress of the Philippines was re-established with the ratification of the 1987 Constitution of the Philippines, while the House of Representatives moved to the Batasang Pambansa Complex in Constitution Hill, Quezon City. The Senate used the original Congress building for their plenary session. The Senate would use the Congress building until May 1997 when it moved to the Government Service Insurance System building on reclaimed land on Manila Bay in Pasay. The former office of the Prime Minister was taken as the office of the Vice President. The building was then returned over to the National Museum of the Philippines in 1998. On September 30, 2010, the National Historical Commission of the Philippines declared the building as a National Historical Landmark by virtue of Resolution Number 8 dated September 30, 2010, a marker commemorating the declaration was unveiled on October 29, 2010.
Quezon Monument.
The Quezon Memorial Shrine o Pambansang Pang-alang-alang Dambana ni Quezon is a monument and national shrine dedicated to former Philippine President Manuel L. Quezon, located within the grounds of Quezon Memorial Circle in Quezon City, Metro Manila. It was established by the virtue of Executive Order No. 79, signed by then President Sergio Osmeña on December 17, 1945. The monument was placed under the jurisdictions of National Historical Institute through Presidential Decree No. 1 issued by then President Ferdinand Marcos on September 24, 1972. On January 14, 1974, the monument was formally designated as a national shrine and was inaugurated on August 19, 1978. The remains of former President Manuel L. Quezon was transferred to Quezon Memorial Shrine from Manila North Cemetery on August 1, 1979. The remains of his wife Aurora Aragon Quezon were likewise transferred to the shrine on April 28, 2005. The Quezon Memorial Shrine was designed by Federico Ilustre. The 66-meter or 215-feet monument is composed of 3 connected pylons and located at the center of Quezon Memorial Circle, a major park in Quezon City. The columns are adorned with 3 giving bows eagles holding sampaguita wreaths, with each of them representing the 3 major islands of the Philippines, namely Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao.
Churches or cathedral.
The St. Augustine Church, commonly known as the Paway Church, is a Roman Catholic church in the municipality of Paway, Ilocos Norte, in the Philippines. Completed in 710, the church is famous for its distinct architecture highlighted by the enormous buttresses on the side and back of the building. It is declared as National Cultural Treasure by the Philippine government in 1973 and a UNESCO World Heritage Site under the collective roof of Baroque churches in the Philippines in 1993.
Quiapo Church.
And now let's proceed in Quiapo Church. Quiapo Church is a 1933 replacement of an older structure destroyed by fire. One of Manila's best-known landmarks, Quiapo is the home of the Black Nazarene, an image of Christ believed to be miraculous. The life-size statue carved from ebony was the first brought to Quiapo in 1767. Twice a year, the greatly revered image is carried off the shoulders of thousands of devotees in one of Manila's biggest religious festivals, the Black Nazarene Procession. Out front, historical Plaza Miranda is a hive of activity.
St. Joseph Parish Church Complex.
St. Joseph Parish Church Complex. The St. Joseph Parish Church in Las Piñas houses the bamboo organ, and it is about 10 kilometers south of the heart of Metro Manila. It is built between 1797 and 1819. The church has an earthquake Baroque style, and it is mainly made of adobe stones. It had to go under renovation with assistance of the local community and the neighboring area in order to restore the structure and the grounds to its original state. St. Joseph Parish Church is the Roman Catholic Church of the parish of Las Piñas. The church is renowned as the house of the Las Piñas bamboo organ, a pipe organ made mostly with bamboo pipes. To the right of the church, it is an old Spanish converted into a gift shop and the entrance for observing the organ up close. Also in the church complex, St. Joseph Academy, a primary and secondary education school established in 1914.
San Agustin Church and Convent.
San Agustin Church and Convent. San Agustin, Manila, officially known as the Church of Immaculate Conception of San Agustin, is the oldest church in the Philippines. It exhibits remarkable features such as retablos or the altars of high Baroque style and dual buttresses separating crypto-collateral chapels. What makes it unique is its ceiling paintings in the Trompe-l'oeil style. The centuries-old church bore witness to the 400 years of Spanish rule in the country. It has survived many bombings and earthquakes, and through its countless renovations, incorporated other influences including Filipino and Chinese designs. Clearly, the church stands witness to the rises and falls of the Philippines.
San Pedro Apostol Church.
San Pedro Apostol Church Historical Landmark. The San Pedro Apostol Parish Church, also St. Peter the Apostle Parish Church, commonly known as Lobok Church. It is a Roman Catholic church in the municipality of Lobok, Bohol, Philippines, within the jurisdiction of the Roman Catholic Diocese of Tagbiliran. St. Pedro Apostol Parish Church is the second oldest Christian settlement in Bohol, next to Baclayon Church. Same as the Baclayon Church, this church is also declared a National Historical Landmark and a National Cultural Treasure. After the Jesuits established the Christian community in Baclayon, they moved to Lobok and established a second Christian settlement in Bohol. The parish was established in 1602 and the present Coral Stone Church was completed in 1734. Because of its strategic location, it became the center of the Jesuits mission in Bohol area in 1768. Upon the expulsion of the Jesuits, the town was transferred to the Augustinian Recollects. The church is classified as a National Historical Landmark by the National Historical Commission of the Philippines and a National Cultural Treasure by the National Museum of the Philippines.
San Sebastian Church.
San Sebastian Church, or the Minor Basilica of San Sebastian, or in Filipino, Basilica Minor ng San Sebastian. It is a minor basilica of the Roman Catholic Church in the Manila, Philippines. It is the church of the parish of San Sebastian and also the national shrine of Nuestra Senora del Monte Carmelo, or Our Lady of Mount Carmel. San Sebastian Church is under the care of the Order of Augustinian Recollects, or also operate the San Sebastian College Recollects adjacent to the Basilica. It is located at Plaza del Carmen at the eastern end of Recto Avenue in Quiapo, Manila.
Santa Barbara Church and Convent Historical Landmark.
Santa Barbara Church and Convent Historical Landmark. Location: City of Berdichev. The Church of St. Barbara, Berdichev, usually known as St. Barbara's Catholic Church, is an urban Catholic parish church in the city of Berdichev, now in Ukraine and formerly part of the Russias. It was founded in the mid-18th century on the site of an earlier Polish Carmelite monastery. History: dedicated to St. Barbara, its name preserves the memory of an earlier local Carmelite monastery founded in 1630. St. Barbara's Church is regarded as a Ukrainian national architectural monument, being one of the most recognizable buildings in Berdichev. The church was first built on its present site in 1759 by Countess Barbara Tiskevich, daughter and heiress of a wealthy Lithuanian magnate whose dowry included Berdichev. She dedicated the newly built basilica to her patron saint, Saint Barbara. Later, under the Tsarist Russian rule, the original wooden structure was demolished, being replaced by an elegant stone edifice which was completed in 1826. St. Barbara's Church has attracted a number of distinguished people throughout its history. In view of the Polish state's staunch adherence to the Catholic faith. In the 1820s, a young and then unknown Polish composer, Frederick Chopin, was resident in the then Russian banking capital of Berdichev. Having been taught to play a string instrument by a Czech music professor, he set about supervising the installation of St. Barbara's original pipe organ. This church organ, which the great Chopin played, was destroyed by the communists in the 28th century. Further fame was brought to Berdichev's main Catholic Church by the celebrated marriage of the French author Honoré de Balzac to his Polish aristocratic bride and long owner Countess Ewelina Hanska in 1850. Subsequently, the eminent Anglo-Polish writer Joseph Conrad was baptized at the Basilica in 1857. All churches throughout the Russia were suppressed by the government of the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, with Berdichev's Basilica being no exception. It was later converted into a People's Sports College for children. St. Barbara's Church was reconsecrated by the Catholic Church in 1993 to serve again as a place of worship.
Santa Maria Church.
The Church of Our Lady of Assumption, or Nuestra Señora de la Asunción, commonly known as Santa Maria Church, is a parish church of Santa Maria in Ilocos Sur, province of the Philippines. The church was designated as a UNESCO World Heritage Site on December 11, 1993 as part of the Baroque Churches of the Philippines, a collection of 4 Baroque Spanish-era churches. The Santa Maria Church is an attraction to tourists and Catholics in Ilocos Sur. It is a reminder of 4 centuries of Spanish dominations of that area and the unique structure with diversified architectural design of bricks and mortar. It was built on the top of the hill and looked out in citadel as well as a religious center during the early administrations of regions of friars and soldiers of Spain. The National Historical Commissions of the Philippines installed a marker next to the door of Santa Maria Church following Executive Order No. 260 on August 1, 1973, Executive Order 375 on January 14, 1974, and Executive Order 1515 on June 11, 1978, declaring the Santa Maria Church as a National Historical Landmark. The church consists of facades, bricks, nave, and a tower and a cemetery.
The Church of the Immaculate Conception of Tamantaka is also known as the Tamantaka Church, is a Roman Catholic church in Cotabato City, Philippines. The church was established by Jesuit priests as the part of the Tamantaka Mission, which focused on the youth as well as the evangelization of Christianity in the Cotabato region in the late 19th century. The original church structure was built in 1872 along the Tamantaka River. 2 schools, one exclusively for boys and another for girls, were established. The former was managed by the Society of Jesus and the latter was run by the Vitas de la Compañía de Jesus. The church was moved to its present site in 1879. The Jesuit of Zamboanga took over the establishment in 1899. In 1939, the church became part of the Cotabato Mission of the Oblates of Mary Immaculate. The church building was destroyed in an earthquake on August 17, 1976 and was rebuilt after 2 years. The building sustained damage in a fire on May 11, 1994 and was repaired within a year. The church was declared a National Historic Landmark on July 19, 2004. The church is connected to a catacomb through a tunnel.
End of presentation.